Alright, guys, so it's been 16 years now since the release of Dragon Age Origins. And Dragon Age is a series that has gotten a lot of news in recent months, and not good news because of the newest game, Veilguard, that turned out to be a massive dumpster fire. But that shouldn't deter you from getting into the rest of the series, specifically where it all started, Dragon Age Origins, which, in my opinion, is the greatest RPG that I have ever played. I'm not going to say of all time, because I haven't played every single RPG, so my opinion may be different if I've actually played every game possible, but out of all the ones that I've actually played personally, this is my all-time favorite, and it's not even close. The role-playing options that you have are like none other. You have, like, so the whole point of Origins, the name Origins comes from the fact that you have 6 different origin stories to choose from. You have Dwarf Noble, Dwarf Commoner, Human Noble, you have the Mage, and you have the City Elf and the Dalish Elf. All different backstories. Like, the entire opening of the game is completely different. The characters that you interact with are completely different. And depending on your origin, you actually have different dialogue options, and the story plays out a little bit differently based off of that. So it's really just an amazing concept that we haven't really seen implemented fully ever since this game. Like, I can't think of a game that actually did something like this, that was actually, like, really deep role-playing and was just on a whole nother level. So that was one thing that definitely stood with me, and just the overall role-playing options and character customization is still so advanced compared to most games that come out today. The story is fantastic. It really just gets you hooked in from the very beginning, and you really are invested in the outcome of what happens in this game. And there are so many different choices you can do. You can be like pure evil, because there are a lot of RPGs now where you can't really make the most evil choices. You're very restricted, but in Origins you can go all out, and you can even kill a child and do like a bunch of crazy shit. And even all the companions you recruit, you can kill pretty much all of them, which is insane. So this game holds a special place in my heart. I will always love this game no matter what Veilguard ended up becoming. It kind of does tarnish the series quite a bit because it's the latest game in the series, and it pretty much just threw everything away that made Dragon Age great, but also things that happened in the past games were also thrown away. So it's really hard to, like, get back into the Dragon Age series. It's pretty much like the best way to describe it is doing a rewatch of Game of Thrones after knowing what the last season became and how shitty it was. Like, it's really hard to go back and watch it again. I haven't since 2019 when it ended. But this is a game I can easily recommend to anyone who hasn't played it before, especially if you're into single-player RPG games with deep lore, deep story, plenty of character customization, and so many different build options too. You can be a mage, you can be an archer, you can be just a sword and shield warrior, you can be a two-handed warrior. There's so many different options that you can go with, and so many different abilities and perks that you can implement in your build. And best of all, if you get tired of playing as your character, you can play every single party member. So you have 4 party members at one time, and you can play as all of them at once, which makes it, gives you more control, obviously, over the combat, so you can guide the characters and make sure that they're doing what you want them to do. And you can even change their tactics, which changes the way they act when you're not directly controlling them, like what kind of spells they use, what kind of abilities that they use, that kind of stuff. And it's just, like, really fucking... The gameplay is something that I've never really experienced anything like. It plays very similar to the old Baldur's Gate games, from what I understand. I never played those games personally. I'm talking like Baldur's Gate 1 and 2. But that's what I've heard, is like it's very similar to those old RPGs. But I've never played anything like this before. And don't judge a book by its cover is the best way that I can describe it. Because I've seen gameplay of this game before I ended up buying it, and was like, I don't know, I don't think this is really the type of game for me. But it ended up, like, just, I fell in love pretty instantly, and I liked kind of getting into something that that was a little bit outside my comfort zone and something I never really experienced before. And it grows on you. You get used to it, and it's a lot of fun. It's obviously not flashy like a lot of other games where it's just like very cinematic, you know, like God of War, for example, very cinematic gameplay. This, you don't really have that. Most of the cinematics come from the cutscenes, and even then, they haven't aged quite well, like the animations and everything, because they were very limited at the time with the game engine they were running. All that aside, the game has shown its age, and it's 16 years later, it kind of feels like a 16-year-old game. That being said, if you come in with an open mind, and you understand the limitations that this game had, and understand that it may be a lot different from other titles that you've played before, I think you will have a blast playing this game. I put 100 hours easily on my first playthrough, and then I played multiple playthroughs over the years, and I have a full Let's Play on my Let's Play channel that I'll leave in the description, or I'll have a pinned comment. Oh man, it's always fun coming back to this game. I would recommend the PC version if you have access to it, just because it's a lot easier with keyboard and mouse to control, like, the way the gameplay was designed. It really feels more at home on keyboard and mouse than it does on a controller. That being said, I started out on the 360, and still that didn't stop me from falling in love with this game, but it's so much better on PC. And the thing with the PC version is you don't need a powerful computer because of how old the game is, and funny enough, you actually kind of have to run the game on medium settings in order for the game not to constantly crash, because I've run it on high ultra settings before, and the game ended up crashing multiple times. There are patches and stuff that if you really want to run it at a higher fidelity and performance and, you know, just overall better looking experience, then you can max it out and download mods to go with it. But just like vanilla, you have to play medium settings in order for the game to run properly. But it runs, like, you know, it crashes every now and then, but it's not game breaking. It's not like to the point where you can't finish the game. So I can't say enough that this is something that you need to play if you haven't already. A lot of the story elements feel kind of cliche because it's you stopping an apocalypse from happening and these evil creatures, you gotta destroy them. But trust me, there's so much more when it comes to the character development, specifically your relationship with companions and romance options and everything else. It's just so deep and really makes you feel something. You feel a connection to the game and its characters, and you're really invested in everything that happens, like I said before, earlier in the video. It's really one of those things you have to experience in order to really understand. I can go in depth. I could spend like 45 minutes talking about the story alone, never mind everything else. Like, if I did a full-length review to really give this justice, it would have to be like a 2-hour-long video. But I'm not going to do that because I'm just trying to like give you guys a little bit of an introduction to this game and what it's all about. You can, again, check out the Let's Play. I have 161 videos of this game, full playthrough, if you want to kind of see more gameplay and know more about it and get a more in-depth look. But I would say, even, honestly, I would say, like, wait for a sale. Even not on sale, it's worth it easily. Get all the DLC, too, because the DLC is all amazing. It's kind of optional, but I'd say you really should experience it as well. So, yeah, overall, Dragon Age Origins is an amazing game. It's still in 2025, and I didn't play it until, like, 2017, 2018 is when I first experienced it myself. So, at the time, it was, like, already outdated. Still fell in love with it anyway, and still considered it one of the greatest games I ever played. And I think you will, too.